that's okay. Hello, hello, hello. All right, we're on my cell data, so that should work better. I don't know what's been going on lately with our internet. Hello, Lori. Hello, Haley. Catherine. Hello. Yes. Okay. So I bought this lipstick and I was like, I have to have it for sex. I have to have it, not for having sex, but for our call today, because it's all about desire. It's all about stepping into your sexiest self, understanding really how this sacral leads from that place of desire and what's underneath, so that we have this bold, sexy, hot summer, right? This is what it's all about. Hi, Katie. Hello. Sorry, so sexy. Thank you. I know, I'm like, I think I'm a red lip person now. I think I am. How are you guys doing? How's everything feeling? How's everything landing, sitting in? How you guys doing? I know there's some heavy lifting going on inside of the group and outside in your world, some heavy lifting that you guys are doing as you move through some unsexy stuff. Right? It's coming up, it's surfacing, and this is where all of the magic happens. This is where we surface everything. So I promise you, whatever doesn't feel so sexy right now, eventually you're gonna look back and be like, oh, yes, thank goodness I did that work. Thank goodness. Okay, so we are talking today about not fully caught up, but love to recognize me in all that I heard. Yes, so good. All right, so we're talking about sex, aka desire, and leadership today. So how to really be this leader that leads from a place of desire. Some of the biggest fears that you guys have is that you can really have it all, that it can really feel this good, that you can really live a life of vacation and continue to be tapping into deeper and deeper and deeper desires without the shame, without the guilt, without everything else that has been laced in with the desire that you have, with the big dreams, the big wants, the big yeses that you have in your world. So what we want to start looking at first is to recognize what it feels like to be in frustration, because your not self-esteem is frustration, right? So as you move through and really start to trust that sacral, you're going to be landing in places of satisfaction. I'm so satisfied. You lean back, I'm so satisfied right now. You feel full, you feel beyond content, right? Satisfaction is completely filled to that comfortable feeling. And everything inside of you is like, this is it. This feels good. The other side of that, when you are misaligned, is frustration. There's some deep unsexy work that I'm doing, which is good, and it feels like I'm letting go of a layer, realizing a layer, releasing clients unaligned and stepping into more power. And that's a big shift. That is huge. That is so much more power coming your way. I'm so excited for you. Happy that you align and rise up. So when we play with the feeling of frustration, what can happen is something outside of you is frustrated. And then you take it in and amplify and respond to that frustration and lead with frustration. And what happens when you lead with frustration is none of the things you desire. You hit resistance. Frustration leads to resistance. Resistance in your business, resistance in your wealth, resistance in your expression, resistance in your power, resistance in your entire being. You hit resistance. And all we need to begin to do is start to really see where that frustration is stemming from. Because you take it in and you create, like the sacral is that big ball of energy and fire, right? And you create resistance within there, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So what we want to do is see where the resistance is, because it's likely not actually within you. It's likely something outside of you that you're frustrated in, that you're carrying the frustration from here to there, to there, to there. So if we were to look out at your life, you're going to have all of these different containers. You're going to have a container that is health. You're going to have a container that is you, right? Like your stuff, your downtime, relationship, friendships, business, money, investments, children, parenting, right? All of these little areas that make up your life. So you're going to have a variety of them that are your own. I want you to write them down, to see them, to figure out what they are. I want you to go into each of those containers, and I want you to ask yourself, am I satisfied here? Am I living a pleasurable state in this space, in this container? If it's a no, and ask yourself, do I feel frustrated within this container? Do I feel frustrated here? So if we were to go through this and you go into health, do I feel fully satisfied? Am I, feeling desirable? Do I desire my health? Does it feel good for me? And if you're like, no, you're like, I'm frustrated. I have been avoiding the exercise. I've been avoiding moving my body. I've been avoiding, finding pleasure in the movement that I have throughout my day, throughout my week. And I feel frustrated. That is something that is going to open up your mind and your energy to see and realize where that frustration, the resistance, right, the avoidance now falls into so many other categories. Because what happens for you guys, if you have one space that is frustrated, all of a sudden you're taking that into all the other spaces. So the thing that's beautiful, the relationship that you're like, I love it, it's amazing, we're so good, everything is amazing, yes, 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 yes. And then you're like, but I don't feel good. I don't feel good. I don't feel healthy. I don't have the energy that I want to have. If you look at maybe your business and you're like, this part of my business is so exciting and it feels so good and I'm leading with desire, and then all of a sudden this other element, I just do not like doing the thing. I do not like doing the thing, and it's so annoying, and I don't like responding to emails, and I don't like this, and I don't like this, and I don't like this, and I'm frustrated. That tiny little part of your frustration goes so much bigger. Right? When you think the fact that you could be completely lit up and literally magnetize in from the fact that you love the coffee. I just go to coffee. You love the coffee. The fact that you can amplify such magnetism from your ability to literally love the coffee. Imagine what happens in the opposite stance where you are frustrated and it's only this small of a frustration, but you're like, what that puts out to the world. Right? Now, all of a sudden, instead of leading with desire, you're leading with frustration. And that frustration becomes so big for you. It's so heavy, and it's so much heavier than probably what you're realizing right now. But that spills over into the other containers, which creates the overall resistance, which you're trying to move forward in pleasure and desire. And you're like, but why am I just not landing there? Is that landing with you guys making sense? So if we're feeling frustrated and things and make things harder, more difficult for ourselves, does that mean we're not listening to our sacral a lot? What it means is that your sacral, yes, it means that, and you're not actually shifting what needs to be shifted. So if your sacral is like, to the emails, and you're ignoring it, and you're like, I'm just going to look for something desirable. What happens is all of a sudden you avoid the no, you avoid the frustration, and then you just go to seek desire. So this could happen when we get into money on Thursday. We're going to be talking about this more, but what can happen here is all of a sudden you fill these voids, right? You're avoiding the frustration and dealing with the frustration and finding a solution for the frustration and turning the frustration into satisfaction. You're avoiding that. So you're like, okay, well, instead I'm just going to go do this, and I'm going to go do that, and I'm going to go do that, and I'm going to go do that. And at the end of the day, you're like, I'm still not satisfied though. Maybe I went out and spent all this money. Maybe I went into all of these places. Maybe I did all of these things. And I feel like I'm leading from a place of desire, but really you're leading from a place of frustration, right? There's a huge difference between completely aligned desire, full body, head to toe, hell yes, and I don't want to do that, so I'm going to go do that instead. I don't want to face that issue. I don't want to have that hard conversation. I don't want to go figure out my taxes. So I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to go shop online. And this feels like a yes, right? That's a yes, right? I want to do it. It's a yes, right? No, it's not. It might be a yes, but really what you're doing is you're shifting around a feeling of a yes, a feeling of desire to avoid what the real thing is that will bring you complete clean desire, complete clean leadership. That's not leadership, right? What we're looking at is the pleasure with the leadership, not the avoidance with the leadership. Not the, this is better than that with the leadership, right? Do you see the difference of the standards of hell, yes, desire-based, it is clean, I am a frequency, this is a vibe, everything in my life feels juicy and yummy, and if it's not, I find the solution for it. I don't sit in frustration. To sitting in frustration, avoid, I'll go in this circle and I'll go over here and see if this makes me feel better, and then I expect to be such a leader. Expect for everything to be great. Why aren't the opportunities coming for me? The universe acts in alignment, not kind of aligned, not, I think I'll align later, right? Yes, so me, I need to clean up things. Ooh, I feel like I'm leading from frustration instead of desire, for sure. I love that. Yes, I'm frustrated with money and it's affecting my whole life, right? And that's the thing. We don't even see this tiny little thing all of a sudden spreads into all of these other areas. All of the areas. You can't avoid it because you're bringing it with you. You're bringing it with you. opportunity. So although you think you're avoiding it by replacing it with something that feels more desirable than that, that's not what we're doing in alignment. We're leading from pure hell yes desire. Anything that is less than that, we find a solution for it. No wonder it feels like a total shift is happening and wants to happen. I want the hell yes vibe, but I'm acting from the wrong vibe. Yes, that is it. So this is the frequency that we start to emit, right? So now we're starting to pull in, okay, well, I get what it feels like to be a hell yes, but I actually need to be a hell yes in all the areas, or a hell no in all the areas, and actually lead from those places. So if taxes are a hell no, don't do it. Find someone to do it, right? That release of energy for you, that release of frustration for you will skyrocket you, will move you forward in such a frequency and vibration that is just unmatched. Your magnetism explodes from that. So really incredible things that leaders do that are Manny Gens and Gens is share the things that they're completely lit up by when they lead from that place of pure bliss, pure head to toe, not an ounce of frustration, not avoidance, not this, not that, right? Again, they're detaching from what isn't working. They're like, okay, well, this doesn't work, so what's the solution for it? So I can set it free, so I can be in full satisfaction, full hell yes mode, because that's where you need to be operating from. So when we look at, and when I talk about the majority of the population are Manny Gens and Gens, yet there's so few that are highly successful, is this reason. You are not leading from satisfaction and desire. You are leading from avoidance and frustration. And to see the difference there literally will blow your mind. So I literally want you to go through all of these areas and start to surface this. Okay? Before you can get into sex and desire, you need to clean this up. You need to be pure in what you're leading from. You need to really understand that when there's frustration, your energy is, right? Or it's received as kind of, right? That's the flaky energy we get. That's the like, I'm kind of in, I'm kind of out, I don't really know. Full hell yes mode, I'm here for it, yes. Okay, so now let's get into, this was the lead. Let's get into sex, baby. Let's get into sex, baby. Okay, so as we start to understand our sacral, when I talk about sex, it's coming from desire, it's coming from actual sexual interaction, it's coming from pleasure, it is coming from creativity. So when we actually understand what the sacral is and what it's doing, it's activated, it lights up, it spins around, it sets off a fire for everybody else when it is lit up. When it feels good, when it's leading from pleasure, when things in your life are juicy and delicious and yummy and feel good. So when we look at the concept of sex, many Manny Gens and Gens have this bigger desire for that pleasure. And they're meant to, because they have this consistency here, right? You're all meant to. You have a consistent movement towards pleasure and desire and sex. So when we start to understand the shame that has been placed on you guys, on all of us, especially women, but especially Manny Gens or Gens, it all makes sense. So let's make sense of this. So I'm going to go into some sensitive areas here today. So I want you to be aware if this is a very triggering, sensitive topic for your system, maybe you want to come back to it, or feel free to log off at any point. I would recommend coming back to it when you're in a space of awareness and you're really able to dive into it, because it will shift a lot for you. So when we talk about sex and the desire, I want you to go back to your childhood and youth, your teenage years. And I want you to identify yourself with what form of pleasure, desire, and sex did you seek in your teenage years. Because what happens is, first of all, women, females, girls are shamed for expressing any form of sexuality, whether that's through the way the expression of their clothes, their dancing, their arts, right? What they like to see, what they like to watch, how they like to embody, their desires, their seeking of desires, again, whether that be food, whether that be friendship, whether that be socialization, whether that be big energies around them, their bigness and their boldness. Betty frozen. Is anybody else frozen? Are we here? Am I here? Am I not frozen? Let me know. Hello? Okay. Hit a little heart or something if I'm not frozen. Otherwise, I'm going to look on here. Oh my gosh, what is happening? weird. It keeps freezing for you too. And it's freezing on and off. Not frozen. Okay, well, I don't know what to do, but it's been going in and out for most of the time. My goodness. Okay. This is just a really important, it's choppy on my end. I don't know if it's for others. Okay, let me go back to my other internet. Hang on. Okay, can you guys let me know if that happens again? Because I'm on both of my internets. Not frozen. Okay. So weird. So weird. So let me know. It must be all the sexy. It must be all the sexy and all the single. We just like to break the internet. But weird things have been going on in group programs and on calls lately. So let me know. Keep me posted. Keep me updated as I continue to go. And if it is not doable, we will figure something else out in a minute. So I want you to go back and identify with who you were as a teenager in your sexual exploration, in your expression. Okay, awesome. In your expression and how you started to lead with desire and pleasure. So the thing is that we're always aligned when we're younger, right? So as we develop into our teenage years, you're practicing your alignment, and your alignment begins to get shamed and shut down. So what I noticed most about Manny Gens and Gens is they come from two sides. They either come from the highly expressed side where they're completely shamed. They are called sluts. They likely have no friendships with girls. They are very, they desire to explore with boys, even if it's just friendships. They love the attention. They are boy crazy, right? All of these things. As the most boy crazy teenager, right? They see it and they desire. So as you begin to develop and your hormones are changing and you're shifting into young adulthood or womanhood, what happens is your sacral is like activated. It is lit up, and suddenly your sacral is going from, ooh, this Barbie's so fun, or this TV show, or I love, biking with my friend, to like your sacral sees things in a different way, and it is yes. So you begin to move into womanhood at a very young age, right, in your teenage years, but the rest of the world does not see you as that. Right? They see you as the little girl, but your sacral's moving forward of these hell yeses, boy crazy. I want the attention. I love to express myself, the pleasure, the sexuality, all of these things. So we have the side, which is the highly expressed, who gets shamed. Why are you so boy crazy? Do not seek attention from men. You are seeking attention from men. You're just doing that to have attention from men. Girls suddenly don't like you. You are a threat to other girls. Maybe you are the flirty one, right? Many of you are just naturally very flirty, and girls look at you and they're like, you're stealing my boyfriend. He's my crush. Why are you talking to him, right? And suddenly you have this energy of attack on you, where your desire and your pleasure and your being of your bigness, of your boldness, of your self-expression suddenly gets attacked. So you begin to identify with the sexuality as shame. Now, many of you may have taken that and continued to ride with it, seeking higher pleasure, right? Maybe you became more promiscuous as a teenager. Maybe you ended up getting in a lot of trouble for your promiscuity. Possibly you were just fully expressed and had things happen to you, right? Many people, many women, obviously Manny Gens, not Manny Gens, Gens, not Manny, or not Gens, all women have experienced these levels of attack against you, right? Of crossing the line, of men taking advantage, and potentially you were in that situation. And if you were in that situation, the shame that you have felt, whether it be from you, whether it be from that man or those men, or from the people that you have shared it with, of, well, what were you wearing, while you were leading him on? The shame that you carry for being big, being bold, moving with those desires, and being your most expressed self, has been told that you brought that attention on, right? Well, of course girls don't like you. Of course you don't have friends because you're stealing all their boyfriends. Well, of course, because you're too bold, you're too loud, or you're wearing that. Or you love to dance, right? All of these elements of you and desire suddenly has a lens on it that you're doing something very wrong. Even if you were in the scenario of actually being taken advantage of, again, was that lens turned around on you? Where, well, what were you wearing? What was the situation? What were you doing? The shame you carry about who you are and your self-expression. Because you're a girl and not yet a woman. But inside of you, you're like, I just want to dance. I just want to have fun. I just want to wear what I want to wear. I just want to be happy. I just want to connect. And with that, so this side of you guys, all of a sudden where you may have led yourself into was seeking validation from men. So if you were one of those teenagers that was expressed and shamed and brought into adulthood, right, your 20s, where maybe you became more promiscuous, and I'm using that term very loosely with not a lot of other terms to put in there, but you were seeking the desire based, the fulfillment, the satisfaction of the sacral through men, but were never really satisfied. Right? You went out there and maybe you had a bunch of partners and slept with people and did the thing and partied hard, had a lot of friends, you did your thing, and you're like, but I feel so much shame. Yes, never taught how to actually interact with boys. Just hold on to exactly the shame. Don't do it. You're too much. You're too big. You're too bold. You're too this. You're too expressed. You have too much fun. You party too hard. You're this. You're this. You're this. You're this. You're always told no and what not to do. So what happens when a sacral is told no? They rebel and they go do more. So the shame that you have carried now into adulthood, into womanhood, around the desires that you have become again laced with that shame. Where all of a sudden you are taken down and you are pushed away and you are ashamed for who you are, and you start to carry that shame with you. So when we talked about the frustration at the beginning, I want you to look at the shame that you're carrying around with you about being you and how you no longer fully express that womanhood, that femininity, that desire, and you're not leading with that anymore because of the fears that you have. Who will respond in what way? Who will say what about me? How will I be perceived? Am I too much? Is this too much? Is my sexuality too powerful? So you've shut it down. If this is you, if you are resonating and if you're like, oh my God, I literally fear all the time that I'm too much, too big, and I don't even lead with desire anymore. I've lately repressed all of my desires and I don't even know how to fully lead with that or to show that or how to express that. How to be a woman today, right? How to actually show up and own your power as a woman, to own your sexuality, your desire, your creativity as a woman. You don't know how because you were so shamed for it when you were younger. And you now resonate the bad experiences that you had with your self-expression, with your desire, with your pleasure. Now is linked subconsciously to all of the experiences where you felt terrible the next day, somebody made a comment to you, your friends left you, they all got mad at you, your parents were shaming you, right? All of the desire, pleasure-based experiments that you were playing with because you weren't taught how to fully own that sacral and what it meant to be creative and express, so you led yourself to the places that felt the best. The hell yeses, the ahas, I feel alive right now, led you to the subconscious belief that it is terrible and it is bad and something bad will always happen if now you lead with desire. Okay, my brain just broke open, raised super Catholic, and I was made to be bad for desires. Yes, yes, yes. Anyone here that went to Catholic school, I'm Catholic too, I went to Catholic high school, it is a big no-no, right? Like that is, you are shamed for all of the expression, all of the exploration, all of it, leading with desires, having wants, money, right? All of the things, money, sex, power, shamed. In my early 20s, I was loud, partied too hard, and had lots of partners and felt so much shame from that for sure. Yes. I was never, okay, yes, yes, yes. I feel like I'm too much as a woman. I constantly fear too much attention from men. Ooh, interesting. And I'm curious, Catherine, what your experience was in the past with attention from men. If it was positive, if it was negative, if it was something that was demeaning. I repressed a lot of my desires, my sexuality as a woman. My husband wants me to, but it's like part of me doesn't know how. Yep, this all resonates exactly. Oh my gosh, yes. We were raised Christian and had so much shame around pleasure. Oh my gosh, so much. Some friends were jealous about the way I look, my face, my body. Yep. Yeah, I was shamed for receiving attention from boys. Other girls shamed me as well. I went to Catholic high school, so much shame around sex and money too. I've always felt like I lived in a pendulum. I would swing into full uninhibited desire and back into repressed, dulled perfection seeking. Yes, I'm rebel. I refrained my beauty and preferred to be smart and looking good. Yes, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, are you guys seeing it now? So everybody that was on that side who is now like, I am so scared to do the things that make me happy, that lead with pleasure, that feel good in my life, actual sex, right? All of the things that actually make you alive. You're like, I'm afraid to do that. I don't know how to do that because when I did it before, it didn't turn out so hot. Oh my gosh, these are amazing. Thank you guys for being so vulnerable and honest in here too. So the other side of this I want to go into, which was what Corinne was saying, is the other side of the pendulum, right? Where all of a sudden we have these very repressed, growing up sacral beings, where it's like, I won't do that. How is she doing that? And you would have had deep conditioning from earlier on to be like, maybe a lot of rules, maybe a lot of, again, going to schools where you're like, this is how you act, a lot of control over you.